Alright, so this is the very first mini project that I had to make for my computer science introductory course, and you learning Python. And for the mini project, I had to make a Hangman game. And so this is a showcase of my Hangman game. Uh, I'm just doing this so that I could walk through the code myself and to help me better understand what I did, as well as teach myself along the path of this code. So the first thing I will do is play through the finished product, and then after that, go through the code step by step. After that, I'm gonna be running this Python word puzzle modified because I added some things that weren't needed in the actual submission of the project. So here we go. So once we press enter, it's going to clear the screen, and then it's going to display the instructions and the header. Press enter to continue, press enter, and then it clears the screen again, staying with this header. And there's three main things that I want you to focus on. And their three main things are what the answer so far is. So we know that there's 1, 2, 3. It's a 4-character word. How many guesses we've had so far, and then the number of guesses we have left. So for a Hangman word, I took a list from around 800 words, so I really don't know what this word is going to be. Let's go with A. So A. So when we input A will get will be displayed at where the character position is, and it will say our guesses so far. And since this is a correct answer, our guesses will decrease by 1. Now let's say we press A by accident again. Nothing will happen. So if A gets pressed again, nothing will happen, and our 4 guesses are still the same. Now let's go with an O. Actually, no, with a P. P is correct. Okay, I didn't expect that to be correct. Let's go with let's do a page. So G is appended here, right? And G is an even correct answer, so our guesses got lowered by 1. Now actually, let's press G again. G isn't appended again, but our guesses decreased by 1. So let's just finish this. Okay, and then once we finish this, it says not quite, the correct word was part. Better luck next time. And I'm not going to run through the code again for the correct answer because it's going to take forever. So that was the game, and let's. Oh shit! What did I do? Let's run through the code. So let's clear that. So actually, let's go here. Python modified. Okay. So the very first thing, let's look at line 1. We have to import 2 modules. Module is going to be the random module and the OS module. So what we're going to do, what the random module is going to do is to help us select. Shit, why am I writing this? Yeah, why am I writing this? So the random module will help us select. So we're going to use random to help us randomly select a secret word, so to speak, from a list of words. What OS is going to do is going to help us clear the screen. That's basically all we need that for. And so we have all these functions here. So I'm actually going to go through the main document, and then after that, when the main document references these functions, and I'll go through it. So we can skip through all this until we get to the main. And basically, the main is the only function that we're going to be calling in the main file, or in the bigger file. So where is it? Here. Main. Okay. So the very first thing that we want to do is display our header. Word puzzle Hangman. So let's go look at our display header function. So what the display header function does is clear the screen. Okay, so now let's go look at the clear screen function. So what the clear screen function does is it makes the clear command equals to clear. And clear, if we type clear into a Linux terminal, it's going to clear the screen. So that's what that is for. So clear command is equal to clear. However, Windows has a different terminal. So if the terminal is a Windows terminal, then the clear command is going to be CLS, which is going to clear the terminal for Windows. And then os.system clear command. So that's gonna clear our screen. So that's what cleared our screen when we pressed enter. So every time we display a header, we're gonna clear the screen and then display our header. Our content is going to be equal to the word puzzle hangman, and then our border is just going to be as long as the length of this. So dash times length of content, and then we're going to print the border, content border. So that's that border, content border right there. So that's the display header. So we display the header, and then we display our instructions. These are instructions. The instructions come from a file. So the display instructions function, we call it from this file named wp-instructions.txt. We're just reading it, and then we're printing out the content. And so this is what the file looks like right here. Actually, let's put a space in there, because we want a space. So there's that. Go back to our main. So we went through all this, and then we press input, press enter to continue, press enter to continue. So what this does is it lets us pause the game for user input so that they can read this instructions. So we press it, and once we press the press enter to continue button, we were displayed with this stuff. But there's a lot of other stuff we have to get under the scenes first. So the very first thing we have to do is to grab our secret word, because we don't know what our secret word is yet. We first get words from a list of words. So we have this function called getWordList, which didn't really need to put it in a function because it's not called twice, it's only called once. But basically, similar to the instructions, we take the file, and then we read the file, and then we split the file into an array or a list, and then we return that list of words. And so what this secret word is going to do is so what random.choice is going to do is going to take that whole entire array or list of random words, and it's going to just choose one. It's going to choose one out of that, like, I forgot how many there was in here. Out of 852 words, they're just going to choose one. So this returns a list, and then it's just going to choose one out of the list. It's going to be our secret word. And then after that, our guess letters is going to be equal to this underscore times the length of the secret word. So that's where we get this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. However, that's not how it looks like in real life. In real life, 8 looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is what it actually looks like. And the problem here is that we don't have the spaces. So like it just looks like one line. It doesn't look like different characters. So we kind of want it to look like this. But then there's a problem with this as well, and we'll get to that. Actually, no, we don't have to get to that. So I'll explain why this is a problem right now, actually. So in the code, when the very first thing I thought of was to compare the position of whatever letter that we got to the position of our actual secret word. So let's say we have apple, and I'll type this out. So what if we have apple? So like apple right here. So, and we chose an L. L is in position 0, 1, 2, 3. So L is in position 3 in this string. Okay. So what I would do is check to see. So user input. So user is going to input a letter, and then this letter we're going to see if this letter is within this string of secret word, and we're going to get the index of it. So we're going to just go like, is letter in this string, and at what index is it on? So let's say that this letter is L. It's going to be like, oh, it's not here, it's not here, it's not here. It's in this L. So then we're going to output 0, 1, 2, 3. It's going to output 3 as the index. And then what I'm going to do here is the guess letters right now is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, let's say apple. A-P-P-L-E. That's 5. A-P-L-L. Or A-P-P-L-E. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's 5 characters. And since what I would do is take the third index of 0, 1, 1, 2, 3. And I would take the third index, what do you call it? Okay, take the third index, compare it with the third index of this this underline, these underlines. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then replace it with the index of what we have. So like this. The problem is that we don't want these only underlines. We want these space underlines. But the problem is this is the index increases, like the space counts as an index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be right here. But we want it to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is over here. So that's the first problem that we got. And what did I do? So I'll walk through this code of how I fix that. Very thing. So I got the guessed letters is the length of the secret word. So right now it looks like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever. Then we have our remaining, or guesses remaining, which we set default to 4, and then endgame is equal to false. So this is, and then guesses so far is going to be this empty list or empty array. So I'm going to use this while loop because we usually use while loops for indefinite loops, whereas we use for loops for definite loops. So this is going to be an indefinite loop that will loop forever until either our 4 guesses are gone, or we finish the game. And the reason why this is not a definite loop is because if we type in A, or if we type in a correct answer over and over again, it won't decrease the guesses. Okay. So what we do here is we display the header again, and then we have these three variables: is correct, and counter, and list counter. So I'll get to that later. Display answer so far is going to be the answer so far is blank 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 guessed letters. Okay, so let's go to guesses, display answer so far, or display answer. So display answer so far. Display answer so far is gonna. So okay, so this is where we fix that bug that we had with the underlines. So we're gonna use this .join method to put spaces in between our code, or between our underlines. So this is the list that we put through, and then this is what we want it to be separated by. So .join is usually used on lists or arrays, where it turns a array into a string. But we can turn a string into another string that's spaced out by this parameter. So we're going to space out the string by spaces, and then we're going to take in a guess letters parameter, and guess letters is going to be just our current string of underscores, and then we're going to print the answer so far space guess letters. So the good thing about this is that we assign these space letters to a different variable called space guess letters. So our guess letters are not changed at all. So we can still use that to compare with our secret word. So then the problem of our indexes changing doesn't matter because it's a different variable altogether. Okay, so display answer so far guess letters. Display answer so far guess letters, and then space guess. So print. So it's going to print this. Okay, and then this statement, print guesses so far is going to be our guesses so far. So this array or list that we had. So if you print A, then it'll print A. So guesses so far, and the reason why this so this is the first iteration of the loop, so this won't display anything. And then we're going to prompt the user, guess a letter, how many guesses remaining. So this is this part. So here comes the actual logic. So list guesses so far. So 4 guesses in guesses so far. So we're gonna loop through every single item in the list that we had already. And if guesses is equal to user guess, so if any of the items in this array is equal to our input, then we're going to increase the counter by 1. So this is just to check to see if our answer is if any of the answers we've inputted already, and if we did, we increase this counter by 1, and then we're going to say if list counter is equal to 0, then we'll append it. Otherwise, if it's 1, so if we've already, so this condition, if we've already inputted a letter into this list, then we don't append it. Does that make sense? So in action, let's put an A. So A we've already put in. So if we put A again, it won't append it because it increases this list counter by 1, and then we have this condition that if list counter is only if list counter is 0 that we append it. So every time we do this, list counter is going to be plus equal to 1 more. Okay, so then we have to check if the user input is equal to the letter in the secret word. Yeah, we have to see if the user input is equal to the letter in the secret word. So what we do is do a for loop for I in range the length of the secret word. So what this does is it basically goes through every letter in the secret word by index, and if the user guess, so let's say I had an A here, if A is equal to any of these letters, any of the letters in the secret word, then we're gonna splice in that letter into our current guess letters. So this looks a little complicated, so let me go through this. So guess letters is equal to guess letters and then this slice. So for slicing, there's 3 steps for slicing. So for a slice, there's 3 steps. There's a beginning step, an end step, and then a step. Maybe saying step wasn't the right thing to do. With the slice, the beginning is inclusive and the end is exclusive. All right. So what this means is that the end is exclusive. So guess letters and then the slice I. So if we don't put anything before the semicolon, that means we want anything in front of it. So anything in front of the current I, of the current guess letter I to this letter, actually, and not including this letter. So let's say we had a letter here, all right? So what this would do was it just take these letters and then guess letters I plus 1 and then semicolon. So if we don't put anything on the second half, we want to take the latter half of it. We just take the rest of it. It's I plus 1 because since the beginning is inclusive, we want to get in front of it. So let's say we want this right here. So the first guess letters will take this, and the second guess letter will take I plus 1. So we'll take this, and so it'll splice that out, and then after that we'll add the secret word or the secret letter into that spot. So that's how we got this effect right here. And then after that we'll increase is correct by 1. So what is correct does is it checks to see if our answer is correct, and if it is, then it won't decrease our guesses. But if it isn't correct, then we will decrease our guesses. So basically, for this to even occur, we need a correct answer. So for A is a correct answer, so A is going to be a letter within the secret word, and therefore this is correct is going to plus by 1. And if that pluses by 1, then this will never run, and our guesses won't decrease by 1. But if we do something that's not within it, so let's say a B, this won't run. That means the is correct will stay at 0, and then if is correct is 0, then guesses will be minus equal to 1, and therefore this minus decreases by 1. Lastly, we need an end condition. So the end condition is if we either win the game, so we find all our words or all our letters, or if we don't have any more guesses. So our end condition for don't have any more guesses is already there. If we don't have any guesses, then this loop will stop, and we'll go. And the thing is, even if it's 0, it'll still run to this part. It won't like just stop abruptly. So we'll still run to this part, and first we'll check to see if the guess letters is equal to secret words. So if we guess the letter, if the guess letter is correct, then endgame is equal to true. And this loop only runs, this while loop only runs if the endgame is equal to false. So if we guessed everything correctly, endgame is equal to true, and then we displayed our answer so far. So this displays the full answer, and then we say good job, you found the word, and then our word. Else if guesses remaining is 0. So otherwise, if we didn't find the answer and we don't have any more guesses, then we're going to say not quite the correct word was blank, was the secret word, and then better luck next time. So let's see that in action. Let's put a D and D, and it says not quite the correct word was approval, better luck next time. And then there we go, and then we go on to our next iteration for our loop. So next iteration of our loop, so let's play this again. Say A. So we go to our next iteration of our group, and this, I just want to talk about this guesses so far. So right now, or before, it had empty loop, right? So what happens here is that it looks through here and sees if the guesses is equal to user guess. So this is to see if the words we put in is, or if the letter we have is already in this list, and if it is, it won't append anything. But if it isn't, then it will append. Then I'll append a letter. So B, it'll append a letter. So when we put B in, it'll append, and then it'll go through all of this again, and then it'll loop back up here, and then it'll finally display right there. So it's not in this current loop that this is appended. Like, you'll see this appendation. You see the appendation on the second loop, like the second iteration that it occurs. So that's just something to take note of. But yeah, that is the game, and I took 20 minutes to explain it, but I had a pretty good time making it. So there we go.